There's a lot of reasons why you might choose to be a creative, whether it's to add that artistic flair to your university application or to your CV, or whether it's just to invest your time in something a little more meaningful. People use creativity often as a means to get somewhere else, but I feel like there's a lot of benefits of being a creative within itself that we don't often talk about. The impact that it has on you as a person and the way it changes how you experience and see the world in general. I've started this YouTube channel because I think a lot more people would benefit from being in touch with their creative sides a lot more than they realize. I feel like it's had a lot of surprising effects on my life that I didn't really expect to be there, aside from, of course, improving in my creative practices. So these are some of the effects that I've noticed creativity has had on my life. I hope by the end of this video you'll be a little more inspired to get more in touch with your creative side. Let's get right into it. The first impact that I noticed creativity had in my life is in my personal growth journey. When I first started practicing creativity, I wanted to use it more as a means to productively invest my time. I noticed that a lot of the things that I was spending my time on, I usually didn't really have much to show for it. I decided to replace that with creative practices and instead invest my time into learning guitar songs or drawing, which I felt would at least result in me growing a skill. As I kept on practicing though, I started to realize that I was growing in my confidence in myself because of simply sticking to a practice for long enough. I was approaching things with self-trust and it cultivated my self-belief because I showed a lot of consistency. It also contributed to my self-discipline and just the way that I approach things in general with a more growth mindset. Always putting myself into new environments just to test my comfort zone and expand it. And I recently noticed that whenever I do that nowadays, I often have my guitar song learning process in the back of my mind. Because usually when I start practicing a song, it's the most difficult thing in the world. My fingers don't know where to be, what to do. And then as I continue sticking to it, I eventually get a good grip of things and then I surprise myself, with how something that could seem so difficult at first can eventually become something within your skill set. So I've learned to adapt that mindset into other things that I try, knowing that things might look difficult and even impossible sometimes, but if you stick to it long enough, you usually end up coming out the other end. And I feel like it's truly one of those things that's helped me grow as a person and become a lot more disciplined than I ever was before. The second impact that creativity has had on me as a person is inner tranquil / peace / happiness. I'm probably the happiest person that you will meet walking down the street on a random morning. And when my friends aren't wondering exactly what is wrong with me, I get asked a lot why I'm a very smiley person. I would say that the secret to being a person who is always calm, always relaxed, someone who is happy, is that I don't hold negative energy inside of me. All of my anger is in some poem somewhere that I wrote. All of my sadness is in some sad song that I composed. All of my dark, angry feelings are channeled into my drawings or something similar. Creativity not only gives you the ability to express your unique vision, talent, and style, but it even more importantly allows you an avenue through which you can express your feelings, your emotions. When you practice creativity long enough, you learn not to hold on to overwhelming feelings so much and to instead channel them into something creative. And that way you get to channel something that could have been destructive into something more constructive that will help you. And so all your negative feelings are not weighing you down or hidden within you somewhere. This allows you to maintain a state of inner peace and serenity because all the frustration is outside of you and you don't really have to hold on to it anymore. I think that's truly one of the most beautiful things about choosing to be a more creative person. I love the fact that it allows you to reframe negativity into beauty and art. The third impact / effect that creativity has had on my life is fulfillment. Few things will give you as much fulfillment as being immersed in the creative process. The most interesting thing that I learned recently is that a lot of us have it wrong. We often assume that lounging on the couch all day long and binging some form of content is what is going to make us happy. And while there is some form of joy to be derived from consumption, most of it dims in comparison to what you're going to feel when you are in an immersive process that gives you just the right amount of challenge and excitement. This is also known as being in a state of flow. And my favorite way to access this state is, of course, by being in a creative practice. When you're so deeply immersed in building something or creating with your hands that you lose sense of time and space and all of it just fades away, I think it's truly one of those things that we're just made to do. And of course, the outward manifestation of that form of inner fulfillment is that you just move differently outside. You're not relying on relationships or anything else to give you fulfillment because you already have so much of it inside of yourself, and at the very least you know that if you do need more, you can always just create it. The fourth impact that creativity has had on my life is equipping me with virtues or values or just aspirational traits that just serve to make you a better person in general. For example, regardless of what creative practice you do, the number one trait that you are guaranteed to have if you practice creativity is patience. The creative process is very confusing, and you need to learn how to stand in the face of uncertainty and chaos and ambiguity. You learn to just trust the process at large and stay calm in the face of uncertainty, because the creative process is about bringing something that has not existed yet to life. And of course, in a process like that, you aren't always going to know how best to move forward. Creativity teaches you to be a more patient person and to just relax because everything is going to work out in the end. Another aspirational trait that creativity gives you is humility. Creativity will most definitely humble you. The creative process usually starts staring at a blank paper, being expected to somehow turn it into something that makes sense, or disorganized parts that you're expected to somehow assemble into something artistic and beautiful. A lot of creatives put off starting altogether because it's usually the most difficult part of being creative. That phase of not really knowing what you're supposed to do, it's often very humbling. But then, of course, it also gives you confidence because once you get through that phase and you see what you can create with your own two hands, you remain surprised. My favorite thing in the whole entire world is looking at things that I've created and thinking, wow, that was me. I did that. It's truly one of the most exciting things, but also one of the most confidence boosting feelings. The creativity sort of gives you a little bit of both, a little confidence and then slaps you with a little humility just to keep you balanced. It's a very tricky process. You often don't know what exactly is going to happen, but then it's also very exciting because you don't know, but it's also very unnerving because you don't know. But eventually you're able to turn nothing into something, and it's truly such an exciting process. Other traits have been the courage to try, to put my ideas out there and allow them to be seen by other people. It's given me perseverance, the ability to stick to something even when it doesn't look as good or even when it's not as satisfying to stick to it because you trust in your vision and the end goal. It's given me a lot of curiosity when I approach new projects. I'm very curious to see how will this turn out, what will I create this time. It's a very interesting way to approach life in general. The fifth and final impact that creativity has had on me as a person for this video is attentiveness / the ability to see what others usually can't. Practicing creativity will allow you to see beyond what meets the eye because you're familiar with the creative process and the ups and downs and the chaos that it entails. You're able to see things for what they could be as opposed to just what they are. And you're aware that what meets the eye a lot of the times isn't usually the full story. So you approach things with more curiosity and more patience. It makes you more open to opportunities, ideas, more open to people. You're willing to hear people out a little more. You're willing to see what it is they have to say and what ideas they want to bring forward because you know that you can turn nothing into something. And reality takes on a whole new meaning once you realize that you can change almost anything that you want. The result of this is that you show up more optimistically and in an adventurous manner to life. You're curious to see everything and you're more open to possibilities that other people might not be open to. For example, on days when I feel bored or I feel like I'm not really enjoying today, I know that I'm free to literally take a bus ride to the next city and enjoy a cup of coffee and come back. The thing is, you're constantly aware of the fact that you can change reality. You take on a more active, in control role in your life as opposed to just being a passive participant in it. And just by approaching it from that perspective, you experience life better. Reality is much more flexible and you feel less constrained within the confines of your reality. You're just aware of the fact that anything can happen and you're much more open-minded and excited to be alive for that simple fact. My name is Sandra Vicky and I'm on a mission to help everyone live a lifestyle that honors their creative passions, and if that sounds good to you, make sure to subscribe because I'll be dropping so much more information in line with that. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week ahead. Bye!